Greetings gastronauts, this is KeefCooks, I'm Keef, and today I'm going to do something that's a total British classic. I'm going to show you how to make steak and kidney pudding, and as a bonus I'm going to have a go at making a rag pudding. But before we do that, a couple of shout outs. One to JT from JT Music, thanks for the very kind donation, and also to Sarah Cohen, because somebody called Patrick Clark asked me to do that. Now, steak and kidney pudding has been requested by Elmo, who's stumbled across this channel recently and seems to have spent every waking hour watching all my old videos. Except he didn't find the one from 5 years ago where the first time I made steak and kidney pudding, but that was a bit rubbish, so I don't recommend it. Anyway, and also to Buzz Burrows, who wanted me to do a rag pudding, and at the time I'm like, what is a rag pudding? I'd never heard of it, which is strange because I'm a northern lad and rag pudding is a northern thing, although not the real north, the bit over the other side of the Pennines, Lancashire, and specifically Oldham in Lancashire, where rag puddings apparently were invented. So I had asked Chris the butcher to see if he could get me a rag pudding, but he hasn't managed it. I don't know. Anyway, I've never had one. I'm not claiming it's definitive. I might screw it up totally, but I'm going to have a go, and you have to admire that. All right? Okay, let's get on with it. Okay, I'm going to make the filling first because that takes longest. So I've got 450 grams of stewing steak. I've got half that amount of lamb's kidney, half a medium onion, and we're gonna chop that up and dredge it in some seasoned flour. So plain flour, salt and pepper. First thing to do is deal with this. There's quite a bit of fat and gristle on it that I want to get rid of. By the way, I won't need the kidneys till the end, so I'm gonna put those in the fridge for now. Okay, so first off I'm just gonna put some flour in the bowl and season it with salt and pepper. And then just get your bits of meat and trim off any excess fat, and also cut them down if they're too big. So, ooh, look at that, lovely gristle. Wow. I know this was a cheap pack of meat, but not usually this scraggy. Oh, it's okay, but yeah, don't want too much of that. So now just toss your bits of beef in the seasoned flour and get them all coated. Right, now I'm going to make the filling, so I'm melting a big blob of beef dripping in a frying pan. And when it's hot, pop the beef in and stir it around, get it all cooking and maybe browning a bit. Then I've got some water in my pressure cooker and I'm going to transfer the beef into that. Now, it's important not to overcrowd the pan, so I'm doing it in 2 batches. While the beef is coming to the boil, I'm just going to peel and pop the onion. You want that to come to the boil, and you'll notice there's some scum on the surface, and you want to get rid of that. I'm melting some more dripping in the frying pan, and I'm just going to cook the onions till they're browned a bit as well, and then add them to the liquid. A couple of bay leaves, some thyme, some sage. Now put the lid on the pressure cooker and bring it up to pressure. When the pressure cooker reaches pressure, just turn down the heat and let it cook for 20 minutes. If you don't have a pressure cooker, you can do it in a Dutch oven kind of stock pot kind of thing. But you would want to let it simmer with the lid on for 3.5 hours at least. So I'm going to chop the kidneys up. And I've actually got lamb's kidneys because that's what they had at the supermarket. People will say that you should use ox kidneys, and that's fine. Okay, while the filling's cooking, I'm going to make my pastry. So I've got a bowl, I've got 250 grams of self-raising flour, a teaspoon of salt, and 125 grams, half the amount of flour, of suet. And I know this can be hard to get in some parts of the world, in which case, yeah, you're a bit stuffed, because you have to use suet. I couldn't actually get this. A Tora, this is everywhere in the UK. Couldn't get it in Spain when I made my last video of this. But what I could get was the actual suet that is the hard fat that grows around kidneys in the beasties. So I'd go and see Antonio, my butcher at the market, and ask for my riñones, and which he only sold to very special customers. And they'd be encased in this suet, and he would you know, kind of he would remove the kidneys from the suet and then try to throw it away, except I wouldn't let him because I wanted it, and he couldn't understand why, because suet was just rubbish. Mixy, and then add just enough water to make it come together. So go careful. Okay, there's my dough, so just set that aside until you're ready for it. By the way, I'm going to try and make 4 individual puddings in these things, rather than one big one that might be like that kind of size, because that's just silly. And also a rag pudding, which isn't made in a tin or anything. The beef's almost had its cooking time, so I'm going to just briefly fry off the kidneys. Just stir them around and get rid of any redness. And then when the pressure cooker is depressurised, open it up and pop your kidneys in. And I completely forgot, I should have cooked the beef in beef stock. Anyway, it's not too late, I'm just crumbling in a beef stock cube now. Now, my gravy's pretty runny, so I want to thicken it up. And normally I'll just sift in flour, but I get told off for doing that because it's a bit naughty. And also, potentially, will give you lumps in your gravy. So I'll just show you this quick technique, which is a French thing. It's called beurre manier, which is butter manipulated. So you just get a big lump of butter and same amount of flour and a fork, and you just mash them together, and eventually you'll get a sort of paste-like thing, which you can chuck in your gravy and it won't go lumpy. Right, there we go. Floury butter or buttery flour, I don't know. I'm chucking it in the pot. Right, I might be being a bit optimistic about 4 puddings from this much pastry. Probably 2 and the rag pudding. Flour on the worktop. Not that much. So just grab some dough and roll it out. It feels kind of lumpy because of the suet pellets in it. So I'm going to use one of the tins to cut a lid. 2 lids. And stuff it in the tin. And you want to get it right down to the bottom of the tin, obviously. It's fairly forgiving, so if you get any folds and creases and whatnot, it doesn't really matter. And then just trim off the excess. Alright, so the filling has thickened up and reduced somewhat. Right, everything's nice and cool, so I'm going to assemble my puds. I've probably got enough filling to do twice as many, so I might make up some more pastry when you're not looking. So we've got the pots filled almost to the top, and you just want to moisten the rim and stick a lid on it. Just press it down with your thumbs all the way around to make sure it seals. And then you just want to cover each one with some aluminium foil. Not too tightly, just leave a little bit of space in case it expands. Now for the rag pudding, you want some flour on your worktop and your rolling pin. Grab your dough. I think that's probably too much for one rag pudding. I could be wrong. And just roll it out into a square. Something like that. Probably smaller than that, but we'll just make a big one. And you wrap it up into a parcel. Just put some water on the edges to make it stick. Now I've got some cheesecloth, muslin cloth, and I just want to pop your monster pudding in there and wrap him up. And this is why it's called rag pudding, because this is your rag. Do we need to tie knots in it? I don't know. There's very few recipes on the internet for this, so it's a bit tricky. Right, steam it. I've got some water boiling in my steamer, then I'll add the rag pudding, and on top of that the 2 steak and kidney puddings, and the lid. And we'll let that steam for 1 hour. Now, a little lecturette. Your actual traditional steak and kidney pudding, you wouldn't do what I did. You wouldn't pre-cook the meat and make a lovely thick gravy. You would just chop your meat up and your onion and chuck that in, and maybe some water, but you wouldn't get a thick gravy. You'd get like a jus, and yeah, I don't know, doesn't appeal. Also, it takes 4 hours to do it that way, so no. And the other thing, rag puddings apparently also come with minced beef and onion filling, and that's fine. I'm sure it's lovely, but if I've got a choice between steak and kidney and minced beef and onion, I'm going to go for the joined up meat every time. Right, let's see if we can unwrap the rag pudding. The gigantic rag pudding. That is, oh. Let's try this. Well, I mean, maybe if you put flour on the cloth, that would stop it sticking so much. Let's do the reveal. Oh yeah. Okay, I messed up the first one. So here we go again. I'll try and loosen it with a knife this time. Okay, fingers crossed. Oh yeah. Ooh. Yeah, that would have been better if I'd greased the tin, which I have done on the second batch, but that'll do, I think. Let's cut it open. Oh yeah. Right, so I've cooked up the second batch of puds, and here's rag pudding number 2. So let's see if this comes out any easier, and it's smaller. And it's got a hole in it.
Hello, darling.
Hello, sweetie pie.
How's it going?
Taste test time with Mrs. Panic.
Rag pudding.
Yeah.
Whole. Half.
Okay, well, you know. Oh dear. Right. I don't think rag puddings are my forte at the moment.
Well, you were going to do steak and kidney pudding, yeah? What's rag pudding then?
It's a different form of steak and kidney pudding.
I'll tell you what, that meat's beautiful.
I know.
Oh.
Invented in Oldham,
Uh-huh.
Lancashire, now Greater Manchester. Of course, they didn't have basins, so they cooked them in cloth.
Proper kidney.
In the olden, yeah, with kidney.
We all used to get steak and kidney pies. When we were little, you could buy steak and kidney pie, and then somebody decided that offal was awful or something. No, it's quite difficult to get steak and kidney. It tends to just be steak these days.
Right.
Oh wow.
Eat that quick, make space.
Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh, the flavour on that. Oh yeah, Keith. So this is a bit strange because I've never had it quite like this before, but oh my goodness. Oh yeah. This is one of those things where you could curl up on the sofa with a good film and eat it all by yourself. What are you doing, Keith?
You might have to.
And not want to share.
Yay! Okay. Mm-hmm. That came out nice.
This is gorgeous. What's in that filling?
Butter your steak and kidney. Do you want to do the honours and cut it open
Oh, right, okay.
that way
That way,
for the camera?
for the camera. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's very delicate. Oh,
Triumph.
is that a satisfactory camera opportunity?
Looks alright.
Ooh,
I made some mush peas as well.
yeah, bye.
Oh yeah.
What? No, you've had that, pal. I've had a long, hard day. Well, you've been just cooking.
It's alright. I've already had 2 steak kidney puddings, so I'm okay.
Yeah, there you go. Ah, fab. Absolutely fab. So, that looks drier, or is that just the way?
Well, it's the way it's cooked because.
So it's exactly the same dough.
Yeah, it's the same everything.
Do it, honestly. Do it. This is fab.
It is. So.
Yeah, we've had rain and fog and God knows what. This is what you want. You want to sit
Comfort
down, don't you,
food.
darling?
No, I want me tea.
Ah.
Alright. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Good night.
Fab, yeah. Mwah. That was fantastic.